Hey guys, this is Simon with Trade and Perform Coaching. I'm doing a quick review of trade setups, and the focus is going to be on ES, but I'm going to link the ES to the NQ trade setups, right? Because they're a little bit different. And remember, when you're trading in the room, the objective is not to trade everything, right? The objective is to find the product you're comfortable with, focus on it, trade it well, and get paid, right? It's not the number of trades you work. We want to combine tactics with strategy, right, and risk management, and also have a process that fits your personality. That's the entire goal, whether you're doing it in the room or we're doing it on one-on-one coaching, right? Um, if you want to get a hold of me, here's my email, tradeandperform@gmail.com. You can send and ask for a pass to the room, a 3-day pass. You can ask me any questions you want. I'm an open book. I'm not going to tell you how the algos are built or what they do precisely, but in a general way, I'm happy to answer questions about how trade setups work, and not via email, right? So you're going to have to come in the room and learn, or set up coaching time with me if you want to learn. That's how it works. It's very long, typed out explanations, and I have no desire to do that. Also, this is not my business, right? I'm a trader. I trade for a living, right? I coach on the side because I like to help other people out. I don't do it for free, right? I do charge, so that it's not a utopia or a nirvana type of effort on my part. I like to get paid for my time just like everyone else. However, there should be a good time put in, money put in, and knowledge gained, opportunity learned, and a good reward from your side at the table, right? Let's start off. This morning I talked about the setups, and I'm going to start with NQ, and I'm going to then transition over to ES. Forget about what's at the bottom of the screen. Don't even try to overcomplicate it. We're looking for a very basic pattern. And remember, I have about 20 setups. There's a lot of combinations here. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible so that someone can go, oh, I see it, come in the room, start using the software, get the software on their desktop and go, oh, I know how to make money. I've got it, right? And they understand entry, exit, and risk management. I want to say that again. You'll have the ability to understand entry, exit, risk management. And then, because once you're making money, you understand the basics of even one trade of entry, exit, risk management, that you go, okay, I can actually start building my account, and then I can get to more complicated strategies and ideas as we move forward. So let's get started on it. What I said, if you looked at this morning's video, or if you've been in the room for any amount of time, we're looking for an aLgo. So first we're looking for this bar or this bar to the long side. Let's talk about longs. We're either looking for a blue bar or we're looking for a bar that looks like this that has a little green dot on top, right? Usually you have a little bit of a warning before this bar closes that there's going to be a green dot. Then it's very simple. I'm looking back to the left. If I look back to the left, do I see any type of aLgo on this bar? The aLgo can be a down triangle. It can be a purple bar. I don't think there's any other combination. And I'll cover the shorts for a second, but on the short side, like for example, here we got the bar with the little yellow triangle on it. The bar went down, but it was not this basic setup that I'm talking where this bar right here had the aLgo on it. It just didn't, right? So there's another setup there. It's different. But the goal isn't to overwhelm everybody with multiple setups. It's to go, hey, this is the setup in this product that you can follow along with and get paid on. That's my objective, is to get you paid, right? Um, and so for the long, aLgo, bar with little diamond on top, or blue bar, or combination thereof. So if you look at 8:30 this morning, and in all fairness, I don't trade the first half hour. Usually it's moving too fast. This morning it actually wasn't moving too fast. You could have traded it, but most days it's moving too fast. I skipped the first half hour. I have no issue with that, right? Doesn't bother me. Today it bit me a little bit because we slowed down so much after 9:30, but most days and in most markets, trading after 9 o'clock is fine, right? So this is just for example purposes. You could have taken it. This prints. This does not, by the way, rewrite. Once that bar prints, that bar stays printed, right? Then you get the bar with the diamond on top. That's a long, right? So your entry's here. and your stop's about 2 points behind this. So it's about 12 points. It was a little bit, this is 10 points, and you would have added another 2, 12-point stop. And then the first question I always ask is, can you get your 1-for-1 risk reward? So if you entered at 12, 12 and a quarter, could you get 22 and a quarter? And obviously you could, and a little bit more, clearly, right? So then, and I'm going to focus today on the long side and the short side. You'll see again at 844, 845, here's the setup, right? aLgo, aLgo, and then we just move our longs along, right? I'm trying to take 30 years of knowledge and information and pack it down to a way where you can make a quick decision. That's your quick decision. You got paid, right? So does it ever backfire is the next question. Again, you would have seen it does is the answer. Sometimes it stops. That's why there are stops. That is why we attempt, at least on a portion of that trade as you're scaling that trade out, to get a 2-to-1 RR, 1-to-1 for your scale, 2-to-1 for the rest of the profit, or better, right? When you start talking about or better, that goes into your market skill and your reading of the market and the ability to read an extension, right? I'm going to erase the lines real quick. This right here, set up a long, right? aLgo. So I'm making this really simple. aLgo, aLgo, long. 45, so the question is, can we hit 57, right? That would be 12 points. And the answer is we could not, right? So you'll see you're pushing right into this 8:50 to 9 o'clock. It's right in front of, actually, I think in this case, a Fed speaker. It's a really hard time frame to trade in. But even with those prior 2 wins, go ahead, count this as a 12-point loss. You're still ahead. If you took this trade again, I don't trade before 9 o'clock because I don't like the noise, right? I just don't like the noise. So then things that aren't trades, right? So the bar by itself is not a trade, right? This bar without the aLgo, see, this bar has no aLgo on it. This is not a trade. This is not a trade, right? This is not a trade, right? So we don't make up trades. We're looking for very specific combinations. Now, I will tell you on the short side, right? I'll tell you on the short side, this is a trade. This is not a trade, at least on the specific trade that I'm pointing out, right? This right here, this is a trade. None of this is a trade. This is a trade, right? aLgo, little bar with a diamond on it, right? It pays you quite clearly, right? And I'm trying to see if anything up here short. But that's the NQ, long story short. That's the NQ, and that's pushing through. Now remember, we're in a bull market. We've been in a bull market for a long time. We had 2 weeks where we had high volatility. There's nothing wrong with focusing only on the longs, okay? Nothing wrong with focusing only on the longs, okay? At any rate, moving forward, that's NQ, and you will see that you had multiple opportunities, particularly on the long side, to get long today, right? That's all the way through to the last hour, and they paid, right? There were some shorts. I will say this. There were some shorts that got stuffed. We had a bunch of Fed speakers, and the market went to a grind up. You will have to have a bias sometimes, and I got to tell you, sometimes my bias is to the short in the room. You don't have to trade my bias, right? I could have easily traded long only and gotten paid all day today, and I need to think about whether I want to do that or not, as long as this grind continues. But I'm generally quite happy being a two-sided trader, and I just didn't do a good job today of recognizing that we started trading bar over bar, and I covered that in the room already today in real time, and I protected my downside, and that's that. So now we're going to go talk about ES, right? So if you look at ES, the setup's a little bit different. So what I have here is I have the levels painted I have the levels painted over where the market's gonna, where we're looking for the market to trade. Why is that important? Because these little yellow lines, these are the zones. It comes from market profile, and generally in the room, I take the market profile chart and I break that down into a 5-minute chart. So it looks like this, and that big gray area is where we had a bunch of single prints. And you can see we spent the whole day filling in those single prints, and then support, right? The yellow zones are support and resistance, right? You can see how we tend to trade to them. Let me see if we have it overnight. If we hit the yellow zone, we did not hit the yellow zone from the downside. And you can see even the first time last night at 1 in the morning, right? See how we hit the yellow zone, goes down. We got way above, came back to the yellow zone in the morning, and we bounced right off of it and we took off. And where did we go? Eventually, if you had the patience of a saint, we made it to 45, 14 and a quarter, right? So continuing to move with that idea. Okay, so now for a second here, let's get rid of all this. Clean that chart up. Okay, so now we just have a naked chart, right? So the first thing is, what is the setup that we are looking for? So number one, the setup where you get a aLgo on ES. The same setup that works in NQ works in ES. It doesn't show up. It doesn't show up as much. Okay, so it's aLgo. I want to make sure I'm in ES, right? aLgo, aLgo, long, no trade, no trade, aLgo, long, right? If you want to be long and you're bullish, that's great, right? That setup does work. But in ES, you can go through long periods where there is not that combo. And by the way, here's what the short looks like. Pink bar, aLgo, short, right? No. Here's one that didn't work. Again, that's right late at the day. And when you get into chop and we're in a grind up market, no one would have shorted that yesterday. I'm trying to see if there's any other examples. Just the shorts were getting stuffed. I'm trying to see if yesterday morning there was a long setup out of the gate. And there was right here. I want to see if it survived or what the stop that was required. I've traded very little ES personally. I'd say usually you need a 5-point stop. That's $250 a contract. So let's see, that's 40. Did it require 3 points? 37 would have gotten you stopped. It looks like it required 4 points, 5 points, right? 36 to 40.75. That would have been 5 points. So it requires a 5-point setup just to be on the safe side. You can tighten it up just a little bit if you want. 36.75, 36.50. You can do 3 in a tick, but excuse me, 40, 36.50. Yeah, 4 in a tick, but it's 5 points, right? It's 5 points is what's required to survive. So now I'm going to show you the other setup, and the setup that works much, much cleaner in ES, except you're going to have to make a decision based on win rate and your risk parameter. And the setup is very direct. It's different. On the other one, we were looking for NQ, down triangle followed by, we're looking for down or an aLgo followed by this 2 combos. So now what I'm looking for is a bar with an aLgo, specifically a little green bar, or a, for longs, I'm going to focus on longs here, or a blue, it can be blue like this right here, right? So you got to remember, this isn't a marketing program. This is stuff I've handwritten over years and years to get the process correct, right? So what I'm looking for is for these to come on a turn like this, right? I don't want this to set up as the process is going up, right? So aLgo followed by triangle up, and then so the best stop is this minus 5 points, right? So your entry would be this bar right here. So it'd be 46. The stop would go at 41 right here, right? So I got to tell you, sometimes it's going to stop you out, but that's where the stop would go. 5 points, 41. And because it's 5 points and because it's ES, you're shooting for 1-to-1 RR. It's not like an NQ where there's a greater RR usually available, right? So let's scoot on over. Scoot over to Tuesday. Okay, here we are in the morning, right? And I usually trade earlier in the morning, quite often trade earlier in the morning. So I'm just going to go through and show these setups as they fired both long and short. aLgo, well, this one was actually perfect because it had down triangle. aLgo actually would have gone long right there. Had this not been there, it'd have been long on this bar with 5 points, right? So wherever you're entering, it's a 5-point stop. So as you're going up, so this is a great example, short being harder than long. This is a proper setup right here. This is just, you got stopped right on the short. And again, remember, we're thinking of trades in terms of a series of 10 and 20 trades. We're not thinking of one trade, right? So again, here's your aLgo down triangle, right? So again, I don't trade between 7 and 8:30 a.m. because it can get very, very choppy, particularly in ES. So I wouldn't have traded, really, I wouldn't have traded anything past this 6:30 a.m. probably would have been my last trade if I'm trading early in the morning. The room is not open in the morning, but I do get up early to trade on occasion. Um, and I will also imply a bias. And if I'm going to have a bias all the time, by the way, I'd want my bias to be long. I love shorts personally; they pay fantastically, but there's the long bias is unquestionably the easier bias, right? You're just going to have some days that are going to be rough on trend days down, right? So as we look through this process, I'm just going to go through and mark this down. This was a long with a 5-point stop at 8:30. It paid you. aLgo, your entry was actually right here. That paid you, right? aLgo, your entry was actually right here. That clearly paid you. Here, see how there's no aLgo in front of the bar? So you got to remember, if you're playing for continuation down, you got a little bit of profit right here, but you got stuffed. This is into a support level, and I'm going to show you for a second. And I said it in the room. No one was going to short this. Here, I can show this to you. This is ES, and this 45.90 44.91 to 44.88 is a support zone. And you know, if you're in the room with me, you would have heard me say, do not short here. It makes 0 sense to short in this area. And no one got smoked on the short there. We were only looking for longs out of that location, right? So really what it would have looked like is um, long, and you would have gotten paid, long, and your long would have been on this bar. Long here, because there was no aLgo over here, your long is on this bar with a 5-point stop. So remember, this is your entry. You're going to take 93.50 minus 5 is 88.50. And then the question is, could you get your 1-to-1 risk reward, which is 98.50? And then you can decide how to manage the trade from there, right? Again, this is long again. It fired up long again right here at 9:37. Again, I usually don't trade this early. You're welcome to. This morning was actually manageable. It wasn't mega fast, but in the last couple of weeks, it's been so fast, even having time to move over to grab the trade would be difficult, right? Again, going through this, this is would have been a wow. I skipped a bunch of times because we went grinding, didn't we? It just went through just this huge grind. This is 9:37, fired long, right? Anything you took short in here, you probably got stopped on today, NQ or ES. We just went to straight up grind. You had to recognize that you couldn't take the shorts. I was a little bit late on that. I took 2 stops on the short side, and I threw up the white flag, maybe 3. I had a really good day going, and actually because I got focused on trying to think I could catch that rollover, I actually ended up with a flat day. But it could have been very profitable. I just didn't shift gears fast enough. People who were long did very well, right? And I'm going to go through and show you why, right? So this set up short, right? And in this case, you had the triangle up, followed by the aLgo. You're short on this bar, right? But keep in mind, in this case, you would have gotten stuffed here, right? You would have gotten stopped and had to re-enter the trade. You would have been net break even. That's what happens on grind days. If you focus just on the long, right? Here plus here, that's your entry, minus 5 points, right? You go through it. No aLgo, so this is not an entry, right? You need the aLgo. Oh, and that's the end of the day. So and that's on a 6-tick bar. There just wasn't a lot. You can just see how look at 9:30. It got so slow. I mean, you literally had to have patience to grab your next long from 9:30. Your next clean long set up at 1:30, and that's because we had Fed Speaker Palooza. When it's more volatile, I'm going to go back on this for a second. Let's go back. Let's just go back 2 weeks ago really quick. And then I'm going to go get my kids from school. Okay, so this is Wednesday the 6th. I have no idea what's going on. I can obviously tell that it's quite volatile, and this is on a 6-tick Renko, right? So, and I'm going to focus on the day session, and I can already tell you I'd have just skipped that whole first half hour. I'm not trading here till 9 o'clock, and I'm at a disadvantage because I don't know where my support resistance is, and I'm not going to go through the wave counts and get the setup. So let's just go and see what the trade looked like starting at 9 o'clock. And we'll just do both longs and shorts and see how it looked, right, randomly. Okay, so this is a valid short here, although I would have never ever taken it at the low. That is a valid short, right? We're coming down. This is a valid long. aLgo, aLgo. And by the way, I don't short in the hole, but the way you would have treated this was this is a valid short. It pushed down, and you would have stopped. You would not have taken a 5-point stop on this because you'd have flipped long right here if you're capable of it, or hopefully you were just looking for the long when we were down there at 42.73, which is probably what I would have been telling the room to do. That's long, and you would have been long on that bar minus 5 points. No trade. Nothing sets up here. That's a stop. This is a 5-point stop right here. Remember, it's very fast. This is a long. You obviously got paid, right? You're getting paid on this. This is your entry. It's on this bar, 5-point stop. You clearly get paid. And we're not just taking these blindly, but I want to show you the power of the trade, right? And you can see you got paid very well there. This is a short. Again, you had to flip it. You got to remember the market's been going up predominantly. So this is a legit short entry. You had to be prepared to stop that out. It would not have been a 5-point stop. It looks like it would have been about a 1.5 stop, but this is aLgo. When you see that aLgo up here and you know this bar is going to print, just double cover it. You obviously got your 1-to-1 risk reward. Valid trade entry. You're short here with a 5-point stop. If you took the long here, you got stopped, right? So what's going on here is it's printing. We've gone into a market that has high volatility, and so we'd either fix that by going up in the size of the bar by a tick to reduce the number of signals that we're getting, or we look for the chart, right? So remember, every day I'm printing this chart with support resistance, and really what you're going to do is go, hey, let's locate in an area where it makes sense. We're not just trading blindly, like in this case here. So I'll give you a good example. What we would do, which is why we have additional tools, is we go, okay, this is the wave to the high right here. once I close underneath that wave to the high, or I'll use several other parameters like this. So I just want to show y'all how when it gets a little more hairy or a little more complicated, how we're improving the process. So this is the close underneath our line in the sand, even though it didn't close in an orthodox fashion underneath. It had an orthodox close underneath the line of the sand, and that's good enough. Now I'm looking for the trade. The trade doesn't set up over here. See that? And I want it to set up over here. I would like to think I would have attempted this short, but this is on a different process than what we're talking about, okay? Then we come down, right? It rolls back, and what you would have seen here is this is a valid long, right? When I get that triangle down and I get that speed bar, that's one of the highest odds trades. So I want to show y'all something here. I want to show you what would happen when there's so much noise, right? We make a simple adjustment. We're going to change this to an 8-tick bar. And you got to remember, that was one of the most volatile days we had. So the first thing I say in the morning is when it's that high, raise. So see now, if you look at this exact same area, right? See how it's the exact same area. And now the noise just kind of quieted down. You come in, you're underneath, right? So this is your short entry, is right on this bar. You obviously get your 1-to-1 RR. This is a valid short entry. And by the way, when you come back and look, even earlier in the morning, when there was a lot of noise, this just slows it down so dramatically, right? This is your long, it pays. This is your short, it pays. This is not an entry for us. That was an odd pairing. This is a long right here. This is a short. You lost 5 points on that short. There's no question. You're short again right here. You can see you got your 1-to-1 risk reward off on that. Down here at the low, this is a long. You can see they're almost all moving the profit. We just had to adjust on the size of the trade. This is a short, right? aLgo down bar. So I think I've given enough examples. So we're looking for an ES. You can be a little bit more liberal. If you don't get the aLgo in front of the bar with the little green dot on top of it, if you don't get the aLgo in front of it, you can use the up triangle after that bar with the aLgo as your entry. The stop is the same. It's 5 points, right? It's 5 points. And when it's slower, you can use a 6-tick. When it's faster, you're going to have to use an 8-tick. I know for those who aren't familiar with trading like this, it sounds confusing. It's not. What we're really doing is we're looking at these 5-minute bars. And instead of having to use massive stops and use these 5-minute bars to figure the trade out, we're looking at this trade, right? I post these trades every single day in the room. And then we're taking those areas, when you get to an area you want to trade in, and then we're looking for the algo to set us up and give us precision. Okay, so anyways, my name is Simon. I'm with TRADEnPERFORM Coaching. Again, here's the email. If you'd like to ask for a pass to the room, a 3-day pass, I'll even tell you the cost of the membership. It's $95 if you just want to look on my screens and listen to the commentary and the market preview and have the support and resistance levels. It is $250 to have the software on your desktop, and that includes an hour of my time, which is about usually what it takes getting you set up, and I'm more than happy to do that. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope y'all got paid. It was a mixed day for me. I didn't catch the chop and grind fast enough, and I was too biased to the short side. After 3 days up, I thought we could get a roll. I was wrong, but I controlled my risk. I lost no money. I didn't make any money. I gave back my profits, but I am ready to come back and make some money tomorrow. Have a great day, guys. I'll talk to y'all later.